bets. Online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans. Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match. Daily quest for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.
Hello and welcome back to the PGL CSGO Minor Championships here in Asia. We are live at the Pinewood Iskandar Malaysia Studios, a glorious TV and movie production studio facility. I'm Sir Scoots. I'm hosting this fantastic desk here at the Minor in Asia, but I'm not doing it alone, obviously. I'm joined yet again by Vendetta and Natu. Gentlemen, ready for match 2?
Absolutely. Got a domestic matchup going on here, which is pretty fun. We expected to see this at some point during the weekend, and it's going to be the upper bracket semifinals, so a good place for them to meet. Like having a best of 3 matchup, I think, is going to be beneficial for both teams, really. As weird as it sounds, but they're going to get to show their best side, really, for everyone watching. So that's good.
And for everyone just tuning in, this is our second game of the day. We have 3 best of 3s total. Renegades has already booked themselves into the upper bracket final, so they will play the winner of this. The loser of this match is going to drop down and have to play MVP Project to keep their dreams alive. Let's kind of start talking about TyLoo. They are 19th in the world right now. Now 20 in the world. They flipped. TyLoo and CyberZen flipped last week on Half-Life TV. So TyLoo's now 20. CyberZen's now 19. Obviously very, very close. But TyLoo is definitely the team to beat, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean they've been pretty much dominating this matchup for a long time. You're a win here and there for VT, obviously, but the matches have been relatively close, right? But it seems like it's one of those cases where a mental barrier haunts VG at some point, where even if they would have a chance of beating them, TyLoo's still going to come out on top.
Yeah, and it's pretty much like a case of big brother, little brother when it comes to these two teams, and VG have kind of gotten that. Not that fun role of being the young kid in that relationship. But they have strides every now and again where they do come closer, depending on like what maps they actually get through a veto. But for the better part, TyLoo has been the clear-cut favorite and the clear number 1 in China. So I'm actually kind of surprised by the fact that on those HLTV rankings that they flipped. Yeah, because I'm not really sure what VG would have done or what tournament they would have been at that would have pushed them past TyLoo.
And I didn't see it's points based, so we might be talking like 5 points, 8 points, or whatever.
Oh yeah, it's probably not a lot.
Well, let's get into the TyLoo roster. I'm going to have you walk us through these guys, Vendetta. Again, they are basically the team to beat. And again, China versus China matchup today, which is, again, if you would have asked me a couple years ago if I would have been in Asia doing China versus China Counter-Strike Global Offensive, I probably would have said no. So this is awesome.
It definitely is. And, for those who've been around for a while, like you have, Scott, you probably remember Mo, right? From the 1x6 lineups in TyLoo. Also their main AWPer, and then the captain of the team. Then you have Fancy, one of the newer additions in terms of just
we're about the same age,
blood.
So I remember him.
Just barely.
Barely.
But yeah, no, Fancy, one of the newer faces to the Chinese scene. Obviously, just 19 years old. A very, very solid rifler. When he came onto the scene last year, everybody was expecting him to be like the new star player out of China, like the new jungler, the new Alex 44, that type of guy. Slowed a bit down, but still showing promise and still being able to contribute for the team. And then you had Attacker next to him, solid rifler who is probably like the most quiet person on the team in terms of like having those highlight moments that make you really take notice of him. But he's a constant contributor, and that's really all you want in a team like that, because the two remaining players on that team, it's Didi and somebody who as of late, Didi and
no, what's his name? Who is he? Who's
No,
on first?
Somebody. No, but those two have ever since when Fancy started falling a tiny bit off compared to how he was doing in regional competitions.
And online.
Didi and a
lot of people say.
Well, yeah, well that was the regional stuff, right? As soon as he started playing versus better competition, he fell a tiny bit behind. But Didi and somebody more or less just rose their level, took that extra step, and now I'd say that they are in clear cut the two best players on that team. And they've been consistent matter. They've been showing it at every international tournament TyLoo's gone to up till this point. And what we saw from them yesterday as well in their last and final game before they got into the bracket stages was very convincing as well.
I think the two upsides TyLoo has right now is the fact that first of all, they've opted to innovate a lot, so that they don't just copy everything the European teams do. Instead, they try to do a little bit of their own thing, which is going to surprise a lot of teams off guard here and there. And also the depth in their skill, basically throughout the team. They have so much skill going on for them. But their biggest downfall has to be their inconsistency, where you see them win against top dogs, but then just fall short on situations where they should be taking things. And like a standard game from them would be enough for them to beat an opponent they're playing, right? But then somehow they just keep losing situations they never should and making wrong decisions at the wrong time, maybe, or spying in rounds they shouldn't be, instead of taking that one more eco to have a couple more good buys going into the later rounds of a half, losing them crucial rounds. So they kind of have to, I guess, be more mentally checked in that regard.
Well, one of the curious things about that team as well is, and not something you really talk about too much, because they don't have a high-profile coach, and in the sense that Navi does it, or NIP had Threat, that type of thing, but they have Karsa, who used to be an active player for multiple of the Chinese top teams back in the day, or when I say back in the day, I'm talking 2013, 14, 15, that type of thing. So not that too far back, but in any case, he's been a massive part of why they've been able to innovate, and he does a ton of work in looking into what their opponents does and actually figuring out how opponents play. And obviously, when you have a guy like that who can force feed you pretty much every piece of information you might need against an opponent, that's going to be very helpful in game. And with the new Valve rules and as to how much coaches can actually be involved during a game, that can obviously affect TyLoo. Sure, they have enough timeouts, but I'm pretty sure that during the old rule set, that Carcer was a lot more active than what he has opportunity to be now, though. And that can obviously have an effect on the results.
Sure. Well, other side of the field, obviously, is VG.CyberZen. Let's take a look at that roster. They're coming out of the lower bracket of Group B, so they played some more Counter-Strike to get here.
There's some familiar names for you as well, Scott, right? TV, Savage, especially Savage has to be one.
For sure.
Yeah, and
also the same age as me.
He's a bit of a savage on the servers, too. I mean, very versatile, opping, doing a lot of different things, and with high performance as well. Choking, I think, is also another very high-profile player for this team.
Lovey's been around for a while, too, right? That name jumps out at me.
Yeah. Like all of these guys have been around.
They're in CS standards, these guys are grandpas.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So let's kind of start talking about the maps. We don't know what's going to happen, but what we do know off the top of our heads is that TyLoo don't play Nuke, right? So that's probably going to be their first ban, I would think.
You'd hope so. But again, it's domestic matchups are always kind of weird in that regard. You see teams taking more chances than they normally would do against a team from a different country, simply because they play each other so much. And especially in this case, this is very unique. Even in, let's say, if you're in Sweden and you have NIP versus Fnatic, sure, they practice a lot versus each other, but they don't necessarily run into each other in every tournament. With TyLoo and Vici, because they have these domestic leagues, and they have quite a few of them in a lot of tournaments as well, and the fact that for the better part of the CSGO's lifetime in Asia, they have been the two best teams. They've run into each other a lot. Yeah, and especially at offline events, which is a completely different ball game. So I think like this is a very this matchup could very easily have its own metagame within itself and not really follow the normal trends that you'd see.
And when you say a lot, they've played 10 maps in the last 3 months offline at LAN, and it's a 9-1 favor for TyLoo on that. So very heavy TyLoo.
There's been
Here we go.
some close maps. Like they play Train at WSC.
We are going to play Nuke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
we are.
Yeah, but there you go.
Which makes sense because VG grabbed it. Yeah.
Yeah, but there you go. Like TyLoo did have the opportunity to actually ban it out, but
They don't.
yeah, they don't. So this is the kind of funky stuff you get with teams that know each other very well, because TyLoo probably they came to Malmo with a very strong cobble or a very new cobble, but again, this is something that Vici would have ran into multiple times during practice or offline environment.
Yeah.
Before, so they probably figured a key out as to how to play TyLoo on cobble, and they don't feel comfortable going up against them, because there's a couple of maps that Vici managed to grab off of TyLoo every now and again.
Yeah.
And cobble has been one of them.
Yeah, for Dust 2.
And Cash as well.
Yeah. And it was very close on Train previously, too. Overpass, though, which is the first map. Last time they played one another, TyLoo won 16-5.
Yeah, and looking at their overall Overpass at offline events, VG is 2-2, 50% rating. TyLoo is 7-0, 100% rating. So, and their biggest win is 16-5 against this team.
If anything, I remember from the last minor that VG actually surprised us a lot with first of all, the fact of the matter is that a lot of Asian teams have had issues kind of adapting on the CT sides when things are not working out for them. Let's say they lose the first kill, so it's a 4-on-5 or even a 3-on-5. VG was the one team that really understood when you kind of have to make moves, and it was specifically on Overpass. We saw them go for missions on like 2 guys pushing toilets, and when they'll have lost 2 players, trying to get information, try to get that upper hand in a situation where things are going south. So it's not all going wrong for them, but obviously considering the last matchup these guys have had on Overpass, it's not a great sign. But then again, it's always going to be a learning experience for a team that's lost that game matchup, right? So there's a lot of things that VG can probably take away from it and try to adapt into this one.
Yeah, I think it would have been more beneficial. Like, obviously, it's great that they have the opportunity to actually adapt to different issues that might arise during a game. But I think the fact that they haven't really adapted Overpass as one of their staple maps is still going to be like an issue that they won't be able to overcome going up against TyLoo. So it's good that you have the ability to adapt, and that's going to help you in other scenarios. But I think on Overpass, the obstacle is just going to be too big for you to be able to kind of adapt your way into victory. I don't think it's going to be enough.
All right, well, let me bring in our casters. James and DDK, welcome back, gentlemen. Are you ready for match 2?
I am definitely ready for match 2. I'm hoping that Vici are also ready for match 2, because the record there is pretty insane. 40-14 is like the map scores between them on HLTV. That is pretty insane.
Yeah, it's fairly good for TyLoo. I don't think we've casted CyberZen since last year. We did some ESWC matches when they played NIP, and Zoking got an ace against them. But what is the consensus on how we pronounce his name? Because I heard you Nati said Joking.
No, it's like King.
King.
Yeah, we actually asked the Chinese casters at the Starlight event we're at, and apparently everything we had tried up to that point was just like completely
wrong.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Joking.
You offended the entire country.
Pretty much,
Alrighty
in multiple ways.
Well, that goes without saying.
There we go. Now we can avoid that hurdle.
So what are you guys thinking overall on the map picks then?
I love watching Overpass. Nuke is an interesting one. I think Nuke is. I don't know. I think Nuke is in a transition period from being a gimmick pick from teams who focus on it more than other teams do. So I think people realize they're going to have to play it now because a lot of teams are picking it. Dignitas, for example, they call it their home map. So that's quite scary to think about. So the question, every time I see it come up at the moment, I'm just wondering, is it going to be a competitive match? I mean, MVP, they got a lot of rounds on it despite not playing it. So you're going to have weird situations like that. So my question is, are we going to see that kind of nuke, or are we going to see a competitive nuke from both sides? So that's always a big question mark for me against a team who didn't pick it, to see what they have to offer on nuke.
Gotcha. Predictions, gentlemen. I think you already said TyLoo on Overpass for both of you, right?
Yeah.
Put you on the spot because you don't want to be on the spot. TyLoo.
Yeah, TyLoo. pretty easy.
We're picking for you at this point, James.
I'm picking VG. I know the host isn't supposed to do anything, but I'm just going the opposite way, just to
break the stride.
All right, gentlemen, it's all yours.
All right.
Take it away.
Thank you very much. Well, it's going to be very interesting indeed, actually. Just because, for me personally, I feel like the record between these two teams is almost in this sort of spot where there's like a really heavy psychological edge almost. Whereas, because some teams, when you have a matchup, especially if it's domestic, sometimes you can just run into that mental wall. And it feels like you're banging your head against it. And you just can't seem to figure out how you can beat this team consistently. We've seen this so many times in the past. And, in the right at the beginning of CSGO, for example, and back into the source era, you had all the dynamics between the Swedish and the French teams, mostly NIP and Very Games, and this was very much a situation where Very Games just couldn't quite beat them, and it was like a mental thing completely. And I wonder if that is present here between these two teams. It'd be very interesting to see how we see the maps develop, because this with a domestic matchup, I think we'll see a lot of funky stuff that probably in any other sense you're not really going to see them doing that maybe against another team, but they'll take unique decisions specifically against one another.
I want a TyLoo mouse pad.
You want to? That's your.
They've got. Yeah, that's my answer to all your analysis, Dan. They've got nice mouse pads, but they've changed their logo. They've updated their logo. You can see it there. But the old one was a really nice dragon, which if they get into the major, they've got to put the old one in there because that's such a sick logo. It's all about just logos and mouse pads for me, Dan. Today, yeah, I'm quite looking forward to seeing what these teams have to offer on this map. So it's going to be CyberZen starting on the CT side, a national rivalry about to get down in a best of 3, starting on Overpass. So again, if you are just joining us in a best of 3, the team who picks the map, their opponent will pick the side. So on the third map, should it go that far, we will have the knife rounds. But for now, indeed, TyLoo will be the ones bringing the noise, as MOP would say. The crowd bringing the noise as well.
Maybe a lot of TyLoo support there. Very interesting stuff. Now, TyLoo on that T side, they'll get to dictate the pace. And MVP showed us a lot of cool pistol rounds, actually. So let's see if TyLoo have a cool pistol round for Overpass, a map in which they have a lot of success. And indeed, we see a big push here from the CTs all the way around the back. This could be a problem here for TyLoo, as they will likely opt to go. Actually, which bomb site they're going to decide to make a move for? Because they could go B or A at this point. And look at this setup here for VG. It's pretty awesome. They're all the way in the back, waiting for TyLoo to make a move.
TyLoo moving the bomb back. I do wonder if they're going to head towards Connector and then go for a B split. Because if they head up towards Fountain, where they have no map control, then Lovey's in a superb spot with a double peek from his teammate as well to cause some havoc. TyLoo maybe waiting for some aggression from the CT side. There's a minute left on the clock. This is a rare pistol round for a map such as Overpass, because you don't have all the space in the world to get up to such shenanigans. Now CyberZen are continuing on a very quiet rotation. They're leaving TB behind in case the Ts move up through Connector, but it seems the charge has begun.
Yeah, and this is the kind of round where you see all these like metagame issues, like specifically for the domestic matchup, really come into play, where both teams are trying to read each other here. And TyLoo managed to find themselves finishing on this B bomb site with that bomb plant, and the first kill coming in from Mr. Mo. And the setup here is very nice. TyLoo, Fancy able to lock down the position towards Sewers in the door. And it's a 3 versus 3 though, all said and done. So still a decent chance here as CyberZen come in. They do have a kill as well on Advents. And there it is. Nice kill onto Lovey. Fancy doing some good work there. Advent forced to try to respond here, but caught between both players. It will be quite difficult. He's got some support. They have to get the frags forward here, but Fancy with fantastic work there for 4 kills in this round, and TyLoo pick up a very interesting pistol round.
DD was on the high ground during that as well, so that was nicely done. High ground when you've got the bomb plant is very interesting and it's fairly rare as well. Lots of rare stuff in that pistol round. But indeed, TyLoo get off to the good start, going straight for the rifles for the most part. That will limit their utility to an AK to Galil's coming out. They've got Mo and Attacker on the UMP and MAC-10 respectively. CyberZen opted for the force buy, all in. No one saving from AWP for this particular round. Moving through the party area, TyLoo will force CyberZen back from the early positions. Savage has still got a forward spot. No teammates near him. He is isolated. That said, that Lovey is moving forward with the scout now. And indeed, so that's 2 CyberZen players who are going to get taken down in isolation again. They're not really combining the pistols, which is what you want to do on a round such as this. Nice flashbang coming in. Only good for 1 kill though. MAC-10 clearing everything else out.
Yeah, thank you, TyLoo, for a very good anti-eco round. Advent will creep in though, might get the kill. No, not quite. The element surprise there always good for maybe one, but not in the end. But yeah, thank you to TyLoo for playing a very solid anti-eco, anti-force by type rounds. Too many teams underlook this, and it turns into a mess, James. We saw that that was one of the reasons why Atletico had some troubles closing Overpass. They lost a round like that in TyLoo's position, and that was what really sent them into a spiral of chaos. And they ended up eventually dropping that map, which was very sad for them. Otherwise, they'd be here playing today, perhaps.
Yeah, I just think CyberZen, they opted for the force buy in that round, but I don't know, like having the one guy up towards the toilets deep on his own. I mean, you want to have a bit of anarchy and cause mayhem when your opponent's comms. So I don't know, didn't work out for them. They won't have any AWP on the buy rounds due to everybody force buying in the previous. TyLoo again, charging through long, so there'll be no flanking opportunities. Oh man, the money being made by DD right now. DD, I'm telling you, once again, he is the king of the anti-eco round. But it's really cool that you have that consistency. It's like he's the chosen one. When it's anti-eco time, he's the guy who's going to search and get all the kills and rack up the money for his team.
It's interesting, actually, at that point, because as a quick side note, I remember when talking to Threat, we were talking about managing certain players when you're a leader on a team, and he made the point that, you know, in the old days when he was playing 1.6, when eco frags were much more of an easy, something that you more easily predict, you'd want to put your guys who are more emotional fraggers in the position to get all the eco kills. Like, for example, if you have a game where you can give Get Right the frags over anybody in the team, you give Get Right the frags, because when he's feeling good, the payback is insane. But if he's not getting frags, it affects his play.
Choking is in an interesting position. Luckily, no one's at the back of Connector. He's got a smoke down as well, so he won't need to watch his 6 too much. Ooh, fancy creeping through the smoke there. They had a chance to pincer the player in Connector. That won't happen, however. Early advantage for CyberZen. DD gets taken down as well. And the bomb towards toilets. Attacker on the flank, though. And the bomb site's been taken. There's still a player on long to find, though. So they won't be too concerned with the bomb just now. Clearing out the other areas first. There goes Savage. Choking has a player waiting for him should he want to go up through Connector. On a very off angle, Mr. Mo. 3-3 at the moment. Everything's slowing down now. Advent moving around towards B, and TB is moving towards Bank on A. It's down to TyLoo to continue the aggression. Ooh, TB. If he goes back, somebody's in a... He's waiting for the rotations to come in towards B, but I may not realize that TB is already beyond him around the bank position. So TB's teammates want to get taken down for free. But there goes the bomb as well. They thought it was safe. It wasn't safe.
And now it's in a bit of a weird position. That's a very important Molotov, actually, to force TB out of the spot, but that's actually going to help him out. Somebody's looking for the frag after the Molotov was thrown, and TB's back in there. Now, can TB close down the round for the quad kill? Gets it! Great stuff there from TB, just slowly, methodically working the position around bank and CD spawn. Awesome stuff there for CyberZen to bring themselves back into this one. Yeah, it's a very nice round indeed. TyLoo, they will have some money for another buy to follow things up with, but it did take some clutch play. Otherwise, TyLoo are putting themselves in positions which are very, very winnable. So overall, TyLoo, I mean, I'm really liking what I see from TyLoo's Overpass.
So far, so good. Both teams on the buy in this round. So let's see if TyLoo can reset the CT economy. That's a very good start from Choking. Manages to escape as well. That smoke grenade will slow down the T side because it could be hiding behind it. So it will be passive around the playground area for the time being. Savage will take Choking's place. UMP. Seen a lot of teams on the CT side will have one guy up towards toilets, kind of on his lonesome on the buy rounds. Choking now moving towards the long area, where he'd have a support role, with Savage being the initial peeker. And CyberZen seem happy just to sit on their lead for the most part and wait for TyLoo to come towards them. Again, TyLoo still playing super passive. Lovely flashbang coming out, allows Savage to peek. Another kill unanswered by TyLoo.
Yeah, they have to make something happen from this point forwards, but it's more damage done by Savage with a mere UMP when facing two players. That's a pretty awesome result there for the CT side. And TyLoo have to rely on Attacker and DD in making just something happen from nothing. Not an easy ask. Smoke down by the CTs here to limit some of the options. Attacker's getting close though, and soon he'll find his first play. I think, yeah, there's a pixel, a veil to Attacker, but can't follow things up. Nice setup there. Lovey peeks as his teammate goes back behind cover and leaves just DD alone, and he's being flanked as well. Shoking coming up from the back. He does get the frag on the bomb site, but it's just too much to worry about and too little time to do it in. And that's the second round picked up there by VG.CyberZen.
Yeah, it was an expensive round, but more expensive for TyLoo's. Money has been destroyed. And they're going in for the force buy once again, managing to eke out an AWP as well. That might be a nasty surprise for CyberZen. You do wonder if CyberZen will expect an eco in this round. If so, they could be taken off guard, expecting more liberties than they will be afforded by TyLoo with the weapons they have chosen. Wonder if Captain Mo's going to be looking towards the upper area as well, because that'll be a problem. No, he's over towards B for the time being. A lot of players in connector, and that's not good. Savage is apparently amazing with a UMP.
Yeah, so far it has been pretty good, yeah. Will it continue? He's got a good position with the UMP, to be honest. Oh no, is he going to get another one? He will! Oh man, this is a little bit painful, isn't it? At this rate, maybe he shouldn't invest in any rifles. His cost efficiency with this gun is pretty high.
So DD has no idea if anybody's still there. Rattling off some shots, but this is wasting a lot of time as well. Savage coming in for the push, and that's, oh, he's still alive because Mo's taken down his teammate, and Savage with a USP is apparently the best connector player of all time. What a ridiculous round.
He basically just won the round for them.
One man with a UMP, everybody dies in connector, including a team kill with the AWP. Madness.
It's a little bit awkward, isn't it? Considering that the end, I mean, because you can imagine that TyLoo had this really big plan how to develop the round and all these things that they wanted to do, but they just didn't account for one guy with a UMP basically winning the round for them. I say that though, but Fancy's managed to find himself a frag there. He's against 3 players at this point, and he's got just under 30 seconds to go to get onto a bomb site. Very difficult ask. He's going to go back to Suez. Caught though by Lovey. Heard the footsteps and an easy takedown for him. 3-3 now as VG.CyberZen pick up the equalizing round. And things are looking pretty good actually in their camp, because they forced TyLoo now to an eco, and they themselves have loads of cash, so very nicely done so far indeed. Oh, do we have a pause? Yes, we do.
Yeah, I think we have more than one pause actually. So we've got a double pause coming in from TyLoo. They've taken 2 timeouts at once. Timeouts, wow. I think the timeouts are 30 seconds each, so they've taken 2 timeouts to really discuss exactly what is going on here. Savage, the UMP Jesus. The unpause is in. So 2 timeouts taken by TyLoo. That's pretty serious stuff. The force buy has failed in spectacular fashion, it must be said. Down to one man Savage. Made himself quite a bit of money, and he will roll with the UMP for this round. So, indeed, CyberZen keeping a good eye on the economy of TyLoo. 3 of the 5 players of TyLoo have Kevlar on this occasion, and they have no grenades to deploy. Moving into short. Oh man, that is a lot of damage done. There's a smoke to contend with as well, but the CT is going to be ready for this, should TyLoo choose to push through that smoke. If they wait for that smoke to disappear, they're boosting over the sandbags actually, and Shoking will see a player on the high ground. He can cover, you can see he's covering Monster now to allow Advent to keep an eye on short B, and now they will need help. Advent kind of stuck in his position. They could wait for a retake situation. However, all the frags going their way. There's a flank coming in as well. Oh, the knife! That's man! That is awesome. I told you about the psychological play, and you mentioned the CyberZen win 75% almost of the matches they play against TyLoo. But when you're going in for the knife kills,
other way around.
When you're getting the TyLoo, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, TyLoo wins 75% of the matches. So when you're coming in for the knife kills, get that psychological edge. Try and tilt your opponents. Get every edge you can. Speaking English is a good edge.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
English people.
Yeah. Well, maybe not even an edge, maybe just a must.
Yeah,
a fundamental
it's a good life skill to speak your home language.
Requirement of life. All right, well, look at this push coming in from Savage. Oh, he just knows. He just knows the plays out of TyLoo there. And again, there's just this is one of the things about domestic matchups which are amazing. And I kind of briefly mentioned it before. The metagame that is the usual metagame sort of goes out of the window somewhat. And what happens is you have your own metagame for the domestic matchup. And what it typically allows is for aggressions, actually, that would otherwise be completely ridiculous and absurd. But because you know that team and their tendencies so well, you can have a very strong guess as to probably what they're doing. So, you know, again, if you're doing that against a team from another region or something, it's just you just probably should never do it. But in this case, I think we could really see from Savage that he really had a good read, and really has played this team enough to understand what was going on there, and almost got a kill, almost.
Just got some information that TyLoo didn't use 2 pauses. They thought the first one didn't work, which is why they accidentally paused it again. Thank you, Mr. Admin. Right then, we have TyLoo barking orders across the team. And look how far back the bomb is. This is insane what they're doing, if you ask me. They're playing a fake, but there's 20 seconds left. The bomb's just passing connector into toilet, so they better have a massive plan here. Savage is waiting with the AWP. What are you going to do, TyLoo, when your timing doesn't work out because your bomb... Oh my god, what is that headshot? Still a man advantage, make it 2 for CyberZen. They've just waited far too long. They were so far away. How can you have 35 seconds and you're still looking at the beer bottles in the party area?
I don't know, that looks really weird. I mean, they just didn't really have an effort in towards taking toilets earlier into the round. And I'm not sure why the place was so slow. It's something, I mean, sometimes you can have things that are lost in communication between the players. That's normally like one of the reasons why you see a mistake like that is just because the communication, there's something exploded in the communication and the team desynchronized. But they can't really afford for that to happen. It's 5-3 right now, and if you imagine that they just had an extra bit of time in that round, they have a much better chance to win the round. So they kind of gave that one up, and now it's just down to Tech9s and an AK on somebody to get something out of this one. And Savage will be forced all the way back, so he's done well to read the situation, fall back accordingly. And we can see that VG.CyberZen, they have a very good read to the situation. They've got 3 players ready to receive this rush.
Savage again with the AWP with a very nice line. Has support from a teammate. Next shot being missed, but the follow-up will be there. Lovey gets taken down, but that could be a consolation frag. Ooh. Final players for TyLoo will get taken down as they try to approach the site. Going back to the previous round, it's actually CyberZen who were shouting. It was shouting information, while TyLoo were still just standing around. And I wonder if they were even shouting info, if they're shouting at their opponent. Either way, CyberZen firmly in the driving seat at the moment. TyLoo back on the bye. I mean, some rounds they've been steadfastly defeated, and that particular one, I think perhaps they were their own worst enemy, being so far back for a fake. That is not something you see every day. Standard rounds coming out from TyLoo. Fancy will be over towards the B bomb site, just holding angles for the time being, not opting to go for a fast play into short B. Again, always a good spot to have control over, but neither team is going to contest that too much just yet. Mo is close to the door and connector, so they can approach there later if they want to, but TyLoo are going to be much faster towards the toilets position now. Mo can come through to support his teammate DD, who is in the toilets. Nice boost for Savage, but nobody home.
So this time TyLoo actually moving a bit quicker than that round we were complaining about with the delayed fake. And they're actually taking control of toilets here. They haven't actually really put much presence towards the B side of the map, but that said, VG.CyberZen are actually playing very, very passively, so that's okay. Now, you see the smoke grenades getting lined up here. It looks like just a straight up walk up to the front of the site and then go for the set piece, executing the grenades right now, and lovely wall of smokes there, just completely smoking out the bank position. We get a boost there over the container as the push comes in. Attacker with the first entry onto Lovey. Looking quite good. Goes for the immediate plant here. I don't think he will be discovered in time, and that is the bomb down in a very unusual position.
Yeah, very much so. And those CTs are stuck in the corner by the bank now. Lovely wallbang there by Advent, but that's not going to be enough. There's still a man disadvantage for VG. They're out of position. Savage delivered towards the bank with the AWP, but he's been smoked off constantly for maybe the last minute, maybe even more than that. Molotovs towards Optimus to force the T's out, but Advent has to reload. More frags coming in for the CT side, but Advent's alone now in 1 versus 1. DD has all the help, has the angles, and he will just about get it down to 20 HP, but he will survive. A very difficult round in the end for TyLoo. CyberZen with some interesting decisions. You saw the boost behind the APC by the bank. The smokes came in, and I mean, Savage possibly had the opportunity to go in front of the smoke before it even popped, but they chose to stay where they were. Then I think they tried to boost over the smoke, but I don't know that they could find each other. Then they ended up just standing there, and one of them got taken down. It was very awkward indeed.
It's a lot of work though for VG.CyberZen to actually, or rather for TyLoo to do, because VG.CyberZen have loads of money left, and TyLoo lost loads of players there, so they're actually in a lot of trouble if they don't convert this round. And it's quite cool to see the Asian scene actually, because just there's all these small differences to the European scene, to the North American scene that we're used to, and one of them that's quite notable for me is actually the way that the mechanics work, the mouse control and so on for players, especially some of the Chinese players, like some of the TyLoo players. They have a very old school kind of like higher sensitivities, like flick-based or a kind of style, or maybe even using acceleration, mouse acceleration stuff that you just don't see in Europe, which is really cool for me, having been around for so long. And that said, now back into this round, it looks like it'll be a fast one. Quick push into the B-bomb side is the call here from TyLoo.
Advent is in a barrel position, getting grenades out there, but maybe not a bad idea. Lovely's in a position to get a 2-man spray down. There's the second one. Advent's been lost in the meantime though, but it's 3k for the CTs. Fancy and Attacker don't have great weaponry either. Lovey behind the sandbags, but it seems that Attacker knows that. There's a second CT though, rotating towards Monster. Lovey through the smoke will take Attacker down, leaving Fancy alone in the water. All 3 CTs on the T side of the bomb site, ironically. Fancy can use these structures to get himself 1 versus 1. Lovey's the first one. Can he take him down? Lovey's got next to no health. Gets the 1 versus 1, but Shoking will be the one to take him down. There was a pause before the beginning of this round by CyberZen, and indeed, TyLoo, their economy has been reset. DD's got a lot more money than the rest of his team, but they're all way sub 2,000, so there's not much that TyLoo will be able to offer. They're going for the Force, Dan.
The Force, of course. TyLoo, they've run this round before actually, and previously with the 1 AK and the 4 Tech 9s, but it wasn't, or rather 2 Tech 9s and 2 CZs, but it wasn't previously all that successful. Savage played it really well. Just, I mean, VG are not too afraid to actually play it a little bit forward, get the information, fall back when they have to, smoke off the T's when they have to. That's 1 man down, and the numbers game is really what's important here for TyLoo, and there's losing those numbers. Savage still holding strong with the AWP. That's 2 players dead as he starts to fall back now, and he's done more than enough to stop the push here. The bomb needs to find a way onto the bomb site, but with the efforts of Savage, that is not happening towards A, not anytime soon at least. But there is a lot of time in the round, and with only 3 players, VG can't cover everywhere, so rotation from TyLoo, and with that, there is a chance for them.
I like how Savage didn't make any effort to engage the final player as well. He did his job and got out of there, completely untouched with his 2k. Very hard man to track down, to kill, it seems, for TyLoo, who are now heading towards the B-bomb site. And there's a passive, there's a retake position being held. Well, there was. Advent's now jumped into the water. Preemptive flash towards Monster will land perfectly. TyLoo will continue their march. They know it's a speculative flashbang. TB's moving in for a short B position. And Savage is rotated as well, so it seems they know exactly what's going on. Nice headshot, lovely boost, perfect stuff. Somebody now, last man standing. And that flank's going to come in at a perfect timing. 2 players surviving for CyberZen on this occasion, but indeed, they continue to rack up the rounds. 3 rounds remain in this half. And TyLoo, their force buy has failed.
Yeah, after the start, I was a little bit worried actually for VG Gaming because, I mean, TyLoo were looking really dominant, really dominant, and they're starting to hit their stride and so on, but the story has changed quite dramatically and quite quickly at that. TyLoo kind of struggling to put rounds together, and their money is so broken at this point. Probably the best case that they can get at this point is 5 rounds on the T side, which is a really big result for VG Gaming. So have to see if they can carry that one through, or whether or not TyLoo will create something upsetting here. But with just a couple of PT50s, not much is really expected. And I do love how Savage has been playing with the ult, because he's the active part of the VG setup. We see him pushing down toilets, and this is one of the reasons why SK, with Fallen at the helm, why they are arguably the best Overpass team in the world, perhaps still. And it is because of the ability to take aggressions with the AWP, and exactly as you mentioned, James, like knowing exactly when to fall back, how to place your grenades.
Speaking of grenades, there goes Mo. So 1 kill will be all for TyLoo. The final 2 rounds should be good for CyberZen, financially speaking at the very least. TyLoo back on the buy. 5 AKs for the side. Grenades coming out as well. Not going to be a spectacular grenade situation. Let's see what kind of strategy they offer. Savage looks headed towards long once again. I do wonder if he's going to go deep or if he'll continue to mix things up and be a little more passive. TyLoo maybe going for a default now. Fancy going alone towards the B bomb sites. Captain Mo in the connector area. The rest of the team around the playground, and indeed Savage is going for the long push on his own again. But his team can perhaps flash for him. I think Shoki might be in a position to do so. Savage though gets taken down, repositioning towards the toilets. That's a lovely pick from DD. The trade from Lovey.
He does get the trade, but he's on 8 points of health. Ooh, just barely getting out of there in time. He's dealing with the AWP as well, which is really important. However, somebody's able to take down Shoking as he was trying to push up the stairs there and get an extra bit of information, maybe capitalize on TyLoo as they were pressing forwards. But TyLoo have just been waiting, actually. And the waiting has paid off, largely speaking. They've brought it down to a 3 versus 3, and this has triggered an offensive effort here from Advent. He's trying to get some information for the team. He has to be able to get VG Gaming the info so they can know where TyLoo are going, and so the rotation can be closer, or maybe even already there before TyLoo hit the bomb site. And TyLoo are indeed going towards that B bomb site. And if this position stays true for Advent in sewers, this will be deeply problematic, and that's exactly why. In comes the frag for the Shoking in the end, but we do get Fancy with the trade. So 2 versus 2, and the bomb should be going down on B, but the rotation's on the way.
TB's already on the low ground. Lovey aims for the pillar behind through the smoke to try and stop the bomb from going down. Didn't have the right angle, and it seems the boost is eventually coming in again. TB a bit late up there though, otherwise maybe he would have got a frag onto attacker. Lovey with all of 8 HP, so we've got the crossfire situation for TyLoo. Attacker holding an angle on short. This is going to be difficult for CyberZen to break, especially with the HP they have. 2 man, 2 gone. Another round on the board for TyLoo. They need to get themselves a reasonable score here moving into the second half, and they've got a good opportunity now. 5 rounds on the board. 1 more to fight for in the first half. CyberZen coming back in for the buy. Savage of 9k, so AWP is there if he wants it. He takes it.
Yeah, again, TyLoo have been playing quite passively in a lot of these rounds, and to some degree, it does make a lot of sense because we have seen from VG Gaming, especially the likes of Savage, they've tried to put pushes in here or there. They've never been too heinous, but they do come. And here is another one, very very fast there on long and on sewers. I mean, serious map control attempt taken here by VG Gaming. Got there in the end. I also struggle with English sometimes as well, James.
Reminded me of that legitimately clip.
Either way, it's DD to take down Lovey there to buy some extra space on the map for the side of TyLoo, and it's only going to get worse for VG Gaming here. They've lost 2 players already, and TyLoo haven't really even decided to go anywhere in particular just yet, so they have every option to play with. And any respectable T-sided team with a minute left and a 5 versus 3 advantage shouldn't be losing this round.
2 plays in the B bomb site. That's the gamble CyberZen have taken. TB playing on A on his own. Heading towards the toilets while we see TyLoo have good possession of long. Now, TB on the outside of the toilets can use the shadows to his advantage should the T's go in that direction, but there is an off angle, maybe even a blind spot elsewhere, but he's moving through now. Shoking in the meantime will take down Fancy, suggesting a B play, but will CyberZen bite that? Somebody moving forward now, and the flank's gone all the way through the toilets into long. And down goes Mo as the bomb goes down. So somebody's going to have to be careful of his 6, depending on where TB chooses to go. More kills coming through, and now it's TB alone. They know exactly where he is. Pushing up long, he will get taken down. 6 rounds on the board for TyLoo versus 9 of CyberZen.
Pretty good save, actually. Actually ending up with 6 to 9 for TyLoo. I mean, they lost so many rounds in a row after the first 3 that they got that I was very, very worried for them. And
they lost 6 rounds in a row.
Yeah, that's brutal, isn't it? 6 in a row. But he did bring it back, so this could look very close at this point. And TyLoo were the ones that did win the pistol round, first of all. So pretty awesome first half of VG Gaming, to be honest. Looking forward to seeing what happens in this pistol.
Right, CyberZen have advanced Grenade Man, 2 flashes on the smoke. And again, we've got a situation where Fancy has gone for the high explosive grenade, although I think it's more reasonable on the CT side since you don't really need to swap out a USP for anything, since you have a monstrous range advantage over these Glocks. The grenade's streaming in. Presumably the smoke will go onto the site to help the plant go down. Frags will help as well. Somebody will be eliminated, and that is the usual smoke onto the middle of the site. Shoking has fallen. There goes Lovey as well. The flank's coming in. They spotted it, and flank has gone. Mo is dead, leaving Fancy alone versus 3. Oh, it doesn't get even a chance to turn around and take the player to his deep left. Always a good smoke onto the site on a pistol round. Deployed from the barrel, close to the stairs leading to Monster. And there's that red and white striped pole. Aim at the top of that, and it lands on the site itself. Right there. Nice spot from TB, shoulder peek as well. Comes back to take the important kill on the flank. TyLoo, see what they've done with their money on this occasion. Mo's left 1,500 in the bank, so he's going to be buying an AWP in a round or two. Other than that, there is a force buy here for TyLoo. So that if they fail, then they'll have less grenades and such on the buy round, but the AWP will definitely be there.
And a bit of a push coming in from TyLoo there with DD, very forward position, and it's a great position to be in. He doesn't have to do anything else here. He can just hold this spot and just wait to see what transpires in the round. And I've seen that position yield big results many times actually on rounds like this. So if you can get in that spot, it's often available to do so. And if we look now at VG Gaming and their movement, they are coming back towards B. Will DD hold his position with the UMP? Oh, he's going to search now. Oh no. Oh, that's so sad, isn't it? That position could have been huge. He's got a teammate coming in. Somebody with the CZ there gets 1 kill, but the trade is immediate. The information's there, but the players for the CT side of TyLoo, they will not get there in time.
4 versus 3. Do wonder what TyLoo will think the best option is. Charging into the site. So far, so good. Fancy with the CZ. He can run distraction now while the rest of his team come in. Lovey from the back's going to get himself a 2k, but 1k is a team kill, but he'll clean up everybody else as well. Instant redemption for Lovey. He'll just basically kill everyone else that was on the server, and that seems to work.
Actually seen a lot of team kills. On this map, I think that was the 2nd or 3rd one already. At least the second
one, yeah.
So, and generally, I feel like we've seen more team kills here in Asia than than in the European CS that we're used to casting, which is quite funny.
Collateral damage.
Poor Advent. Didn't see that one coming. Either way, indeed, 11-6 is a great scoreline here for VG Gaming moving forwards. We've got double Mac 10 for their anti-eco, and they're going to be doing the similar kind of business to TyLoo, where you just run through A-long, and I do love it. There's lots of players here, but that should be money to be made. Oh, nicely done.
Instant reload as well. Love that. More work being done with these close pistols. There's loads of frags coming in from these pistols. 2 TyLoo players left, but they're too far away. They can't retrieve these guns for the time being, at least. But it seems they will try to. Somebody is just straight walking up long at the moment. Fancy isn't with him. They will split their defenses. So somebody, they were holding angles, indeed protecting the weapons. TB just holding a line now. Always something to be aware of. I do wonder if they will try to dispose of any weapons on the floor. I mean, with only 2 players alive, it would be very dangerous to do so. You never know when a CT is going to pop out. Speaking of which, there is Fancy. Good damage done by TyLoo. Moving forward into a buy round. That's going to help them break the economy of CyberZen, getting all those kills despite losing the round. So we'll keep an eye on CyberZen's money and see what money isn't there once their full buy comes in. And TyLoo, of course, going to have Mo on the AWP after he didn't join in on the force buy shenanigans.
Yeah, that was actually great damage done. Quite fun. It was quite a fun situation. So like 6 people immediately just going down. All right, so I'm curious whether we'll see more sewer takes coming in from VG Gaming, because so far they haven't really been messing around too much in the sewers. Maybe that's the sanitary decision, I don't know. We've got Mo there with a great position for a pick with the AWP. Looking for any aggressions, but VG Gaming taking it very slowly, perhaps waiting for the pop flash. There it is for any players close, but Mo is in a far position. Won't pick up the kill though. They are hard shots to make, and this time he's not going to pick up anything at all, and that's kind of a problem there, because that's VG Gaming getting a forward position for maybe just the cost of a flash or two, and no cost of human or players. No player cost.
Somebody with a nice off angle. It's a really good angle to hold, because if the door opens, he'll hear it, then he can just pop up and probably get a kill. He can focus on the tunnel in the meantime. Mo is with the AWP focusing on the long area. See the smokes, and this time the push through the smoke comes. That's what we were looking for earlier. That, I think, it was the right decision. Goes back to the well after spotting 3 players. Will get traded. Maybe that's not the best idea. TyLoo now at a man's disadvantage. There goes attacker as well. DD now, the last man standing, coming up from the stairs. But Lovely already on the high ground will send him packing. And CyberZen are looking really strong to take this map.
Yeah, they are looking amazing at the moment, and TyLoo are going to get the pause in here because they need to decide how on earth they're going to handle this, because they're likely losing this round. It should be a save or maybe a bit of a half buy, and then that brings VG Gaming to 14. 14 rounds. They'll be 2 away from stealing away map 1. I say stealing away. They've been hard at work here. This is not a steal. This is the sweat of their brow, yielding.
This is taking by force.
Quite the results.
Yeah, tactical pause from TyLoo. And perhaps one question is, do we force buy with our $3,000, or do we wait for the full buy in the following round? They're going to be at maximum loss bonus, so there is money to be spent in this particular round. Again, 3 of the 5 players of Kevlar, CZs and Deagles, and a 5-7, and the bomb's been left in T-spawn for some reason. Yep. Whoops, I'll go and get the bomb.
Push from TyLoo though onto a long. They want to make something happen with the pistols. Playing close. I like they would have set up there, so if one guy gets flashbang, the other guy won't. But it doesn't matter because the push comes into B. It's a pretty simple affair. An affair that will just leave a bunch of TyLoo players dead on the B-bomb side. So, well, it's a very, very nicely executed anti-eco type around there from VG Gaming. Again, just keeping it painless, just splitting onto the B-bomb site in a very coordinated way, setting up the trades with the appropriate flashbangs, not making anything too complicated. And now it's just going to be Fancy and DD looking to get some damage in. Maybe steal away a weapon. That would be wonderful, to be honest.
Yep, fairly standard anti-eco round from CyberZen, moving to 14. Big advantages to be had with a score like this. TyLoo's money on the line as well. Well, many things on the line for them. Chance in the major. I can't wait to see more Asian teams in the major.
Yeah, we'll slowly get there, I think.
Yeah, we will.
I wonder actually if there'll be more Asian or there'll be some Asian teams do what Renegades did, which is move over to North America or something similar to get or maybe not like permanent moves or something, but just we're gonna have like there's like a major coming up. Let's do a month of boot camp, stuff like that. Really would be really interesting to get more experience in the meta game that we have going over in Europe and North America. But either way, round 21, a 14-6 scoreline, and VG Gaming want to try to end things in an explosive fashion, taking a very fast approach up to the short position here. This could be very painful indeed for TyLoo.
It's painful for both teams at the moment. One man down aside. Multiple people getting dinked, but again, the CTs, well, for once, the CTs are getting a lot of frags. 4 versus 2. Advent looking to thin the numbers somewhat. Early surprise attack from CyberZen will fail on this occasion. And the final 2 players are at opposite ends against double AWPs as well, with so few players on the board. This is a dire situation for CyberZen. Really surprising. I mean, a fast play is greatly timed when your opponent has 2 AWPs, but could barely have gone worse for CyberZen. Advent rotating to go and join Savage, but somebody is on the march through Connector. which will leave Fancy and Mo ready and waiting towards A, and it appears that Mo has spotted somebody. What's he going to do? Smoke goes down, waits for the timing of a potential peek. No connection though, but there's a lot of information here for TyLoo and a lot of members of TyLoo to shut this down.
I like how Savage is running around, trying to force them to actually engage in there. It's going to be Mo who gets the frag onto Savage, putting an end to his misery. And Advent, though, able to get a bit of extra damage done here, but there's no time for him to win the round, even if he got the frag there. So, a unlikely round there for TyLoo in the end. And VG Gaming, they just basically shoved all their players into that B-bomb site, hoping for the best. And they could just keep doing that. Eventually, they're going to pick up one of the 2 rounds that they need. But we get the pause coming in here. This is actually a tactical this time for VG Gaming. So let's see if they're going to be able to concoct a strong strategy here to deal with TyLoo.
They have double the score of TyLoo at the moment, and the tactical pauses are coming in. That's really good. Often teams can wait too long for those pauses. They can wait for it to be like 12 to 14 or something like that until the catch-up has happened. They don't want the catch-up to happen. So they will have a discussion. 5 AKs coming out for the CyberZen side. Will they go for a repeat? We will soon find out. Trying to break the buy of TyLoo immediately didn't really go very well. If they identify that TyLoo have 2 AWPs on the go, then perhaps they will try to think of a way to exploit that fact with smokes and close quarters engagements, pop flashes and such. But they'll need to get into position first, which they may not be allowed to. Lovely flash to force Mo back from his position. Look at the detail of those smokes as well. All the usual spots. Oh man, every time Mo repositions. Nope, you're going to be useless here, you're going to be useless here, and there. Somebody got taken down in isolation, no response, and it seems Shoking and co are looking for another fast play.
Yeah, there's great work there from them. I was expecting also aggression with one of the AWPers, and that's what we saw from Mo. He wanted to get it in there, but all the boxes checked there. All the T's crossed and the I's dotted by VG. And they've put themselves in a position towards the B area now after applying so much pressure towards A. They're switching things up and keeping the pace high against TyLoo, really throwing them through a loop. And it's going to be the entry frags here found by VG Gaming. They get the bomb down now on the B bomb site, and there's just 2 AWPs to go for the retake. This will be quite awkward. It's a very retakeable bomb site, but with 2 AWPs, not going to be the easiest situation in the world. As VG House setting themselves up to take round number 15, but in comes Mo, close range, nails the player on the site. Advent is gone, Savage is gone, what? And so is Lovey. Mo leading by example with the AWP and stealing away the round with the defuse.
How on earth did that just happen? How do you do a double up retake versus 3 rifles and 1 guy kills everyone with no trades? That doesn't happen. That does not happen. That's a scientific anomaly. What on earth is that?
This is so good. And it's also so good because Fancy basically doesn't play any part in this retake. It's just Mo coming in. Fancy's just like an observer. He's like the guy with the camera.
You got to give credit to Mo as well. It's really important for AWPers to keep their crosshair as close as possible to where they think somebody might be. So you see when Mo scopes in, he's got minimal adjustment to do to take somebody down, so he can shoot them really quickly. Whereas if you're slack with your play, I mean, there's no crosshair when you're not scoped in, right? But I guess it's crosshair placement without the crosshair. But it's important to do. If you're just looking around and you have to swipe or flick, then life will be more difficult for you. So credit to Mo, always looking in the right spots to make his job as easy as possible. But oh my god, that was dirty.
And that could be the clutch that brings TyLoo back from the brink of destruction, but they have a long road ahead of them. A lot of grenades here as well for VG Gaming, and previously they showed that they have all the knowledge of how to place those grenades to keep them safe as they try to pressure Toilets control and take Toilets control away from TyLoo. And that's very important to keep that pressure up. Again, they put themselves in an amazing position last round. Let's not forget they were in that 3 versus 2 after plant. That's brilliant. That usually, you're often winning that's round from that point. So if they just keep doing that, they should be able to continue having advantages, and eventually they're going to close one of them. But this time it's a bit of a different approach.
Timing is a big problem once again. They're going to execute into the site with no significant advantages. There are 25 seconds left and they haven't even faced long. This is not a... Damn, there's 20 seconds left. There's 20 seconds left. TB's been taken down and a one-man fake towards B. There are 3 people towards the B area, but they're charging all the way down long. 12 seconds, they're not even on the site yet. Dropping the bomb for the next player to go to plant it. 7 seconds. Lovey gets taken down. There's choking as well. The bomb still needs to get planted. 3 seconds. He doesn't have time. Why are they waiting so long? This is crazy. Both teams doing the same thing. They're so far back away from the site. It's like they're choking. Choking is choking.
I don't know. This is so weird. It's quite needless, isn't it? I mean, I don't really understand why you can't just go 10 seconds earlier. It's very difficult, isn't it?
But I mean, it's just a mad gauntlet run.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
it's like sniper. Hey, let's run. Let's
Basically-
sprint all the way to the site and have nothing go wrong. Otherwise, we're going to lose the round.
Exactly. Yeah, you put yourself in a spot where nothing can go wrong, and something will 95% of the time will go wrong. It's rare that the first guy that walks in will just kill both players.
Especially when you have not a single pick. 25 seconds left on the clock before they face long. Not before they take the site, before they face the angle where 2 CTs are standing. It's just, how can we increase our risk? Well, this is one way to do it.
And now they're down to the Tech 9s and the single AK, which is quite cool actually. It's a buy that we saw from their opposition as well. TyLoo in the first half, they were actually doing a similar thing. And it's not a super common buy actually in the meta games that we're used to. The single AK with the Tech 9 support. Which is quite cool though to see it, and this time Mo's going to be tested. Normally we've been seeing Savage in this position who's doing loads of work previously. Now we're seeing Mo, who is of course trying to defend here, and it's looking very strained on 10 HP, still connecting the shots though. Very clutch shots, but probably shouldn't be in that position with 10 HP anyway. Doesn't matter though, Savage alone against 5. Not too much he can do from this position, but he's going to try to get some damage. And there will be no damage. So 14-10, and TyLoo are bringing this back.
I'm worried for CyberZen now. I'm worried about where they are psychologically. I mean, that's just craziness to me. So just wait so long and not even have significant map control. There wasn't even a proper smoke down at the end of long. There was a fat gap in it.
Move on, James. You've got to move on.
4 AKs in the UMP for the CyberZen side, with a big focus on B, and the Molotov's going to be ignored by DD, but there's no pop flash for him. He's just going to go and face. That's not a good idea. No smoke, no flash, no nothing going on there. Maybe just preying on the fact that CyberZen haven't really shown any aggression towards this area in previous rounds.
Yep.
But I mean, you throw a flashbang off the fence that lands in front of the tunnel to help you face. You run in, looking away. It's fairly standard stuff. So corners being cut, that'll cost them an early pick. And this is where CyberZen can play with their time, because they have a significant advantage. But somebody has a very nice angle. 2-man spray down is going to cause big problems to CyberZen. Still a man advantage for the moment. TB on the site, but there's a player on a low ground in attacker. He will take TB down. Trade the dough by Advent. Mo on the high ground. The smoke goes down. Can they get the bomb down though? Savage has the angle. The UMP, of course. Savage and the UMP. It's a love story told in 3 parts. Part 1 is Overpass, and they have game points.
The ball comes in again from TyLoo, of course, trying to weigh their options here. And on the CT side of Overpass, you can do a lot of stuff. There's lots of things to be done. And we've seen actually, a lot of attempts at the long aggression from both teams on the CT side. Will it be as classic as that, or will we see something more like a play into connector? Because connector is really nice; it gives you a lot of options. It could also be as simple as just occupying sewers as well. There's quite a few options for forward map control, and there's options for just straight up aggression, where you're going beyond these points. You're going in deep into T territory for big risks, which can yield big rewards. And where does TyLoo see themselves? What do they think that they need to do to beat VG? Because VG have had a lot of very slow rounds, evidenced by rounds in which they forget they actually have to push it all to win the round. So TyLoo might be very discouraged from actually going for aggression. That said, VG towards B, so that they can defend some of those earlier rush timings. Hopefully a little bit more scary on the B bomb site, and it's harder to get warning of them as opposed to the positions towards A. So just a bit of a waiting game here for TyLoo, and VG Gaming, I mean, they shouldn't be expecting aggression. TyLoo know that the money for VG sucks. It would be very foolish indeed for there to be an aggression from TyLoo in a round like this. And so it's just a waiting game here. And TyLoo with the double orbs are very, very well set up to defend against a push like this. I mean, there's no smokes.
The balloon boost. You couldn't stand on balloons, Dan. You can stand on balloons. We don't see that often enough.
No, it's actually quite rare, yeah.
It is pretty awesome. Anyway, 25 seconds left. CyberZen have left us watching not much of anything in this round. And now they will offer us the gauntlet run. This is actually a better push than their push on the buy round. Down long. What is this? Okay, this is interesting. They picked up an AWP, and the Tech 9 is left because TV's been taken down. So damage has been done, and now they're in a position to potentially win the round. Attacker coming into the snap misses, but Shoking is there. That is how they take the first map.
This is insane, isn't it? What a very strange map of Overpass. I definitely expected TyLoo to win as well. So not only did TyLoo lose this one, I feel like it could have been much more one-sided. VG Gaming had so many great rounds, and we saw so many rounds which seemingly they just waited until there was just no time and then just kind of just blew it in that sense. So just a very strange way for the game to go. But VG Gaming with a strong start against a team that statistically beats them much more often.
Yeah, that must be quite shocking for TyLoo. I mean, yeah, they're going to lose a map here or there, but just the fashion in which they lose is not good.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, that was a nothing round. We were just waiting for them to run to their deaths. And I was just mentioning how even that eco round, the rush to the A site was better than when they were on long, far away with 25 seconds and all the advantages in terms of score and so on. But yeah, a bizarre turn of events there, but TyLoo goes 0-1.
All right, so Scott, you're back with us.
We're back.
What do you guys make of that?
I just gotta say it's really fun to listen to James sitting next to you when those crazy rounds happen, because he's absolutely right. I mean, it worked out this time with no guns, with no utility, with almost no anything, and they win the round on that. But before they throw it all away with the last, and we were talking about that's like Na'Vi does that all the time, right? They wait, they give themselves no wiggle room for error. But this time it works out for VG. Crazy, they win TyLoo's map. Insane. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's get into it. So again, they've done it. They've taken the beast down on their own map. Supreme confidence builder, to say the least.
Yeah, I think a lot of the things that I was talking about, how VG is good at making plays, outnumbered, but they were actually really good at making them in the 5-5 situation too. Like pop flashy for teammate to make a play on long, for example, or all of that kind of things where they were the one to initiate a lot of the time, not letting TyLoo do any kind of executes. We only saw like once TyLoo actually managing to do an execute toward the A bomb side, which was a successful round for them. So I thought for a lot of it was VG just making a lot of plays and really just pushing TyLoo's buttons. So it was more VG being great on the side than TyLoo just being horrible for only picking that as few rounds as they did in the situation that they were in.
Yeah, and I think a large part of that was Savage getting that off in his hands early. You could see what kind of a nuisance he was for TyLoo, just being active on the map everywhere, really. And the fact that, he even did it before he got an op in his hand as well. You saw it during the highlights. The fact that he, goes down Underpass and ends up in a weirdly weird situation where he ends up picking up, I guess you could call it 4 frags, even though Mo ends up killing one of his teammates. But, at that point, Savage has already kind of won the round for Vici. He was just a cornerstone of that CT defense, and the big reason why they actually managed to win, because normally, we have to take into consideration the fact that TyLoo actually got 3 rounds off of the pistol, right? So, in a sense, they only got 3 buy rounds, which is not nearly close to the norm of what they'd normally pick up versus Vici, almost on any map. So Vici getting off to that strong start was absolutely massive for them, and obviously starting the second half, winning a pistol does send you into a pretty good position to be successful.
You could tell, in the first half as well, that it kind of slowed TyLoo down to a certain point, right? That they started to respect the fact that there was going to be aggression coming in from VG. and they were not feeling comfortable at all on TyLoo's side. On the second half, once VG got into a point where they saw they could already tasted victory, that's when you saw, we saw the rounds that winded down to the last 20 without them really having a lot to play with, but still going for an 8 push. And when you have 20 seconds on the clock, you're doing that. You were just, it's one of those Hail Mary kind of moves where you don't really know where you're getting out of it. But it's very usual for a situation where you are the little brother in this matchup, right? And you're so close to winning it, and then you kind of just start feeling it, and that's how you naturally start slowing things down. In your head, you think you're trying to minimize the risk, but it's quite the opposite, right? When you don't have any time to make any other moves anymore, that's when you have the maximum risk. So very natural in that way, and just the way how they want it in the end.
Oh, at the
by,
end
by an
especially.
eco, right? So
Yeah. Let's take a look at the scoreboard and, guys, show you the stats and the impact ratings. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, and I think, Lovey, or Love YY, as the Chinese casters call him, obviously having a big game. Even though Savage only ends up on 20 frags, I think you can tell his impact rating is up there. And I think that's pretty evident by how he played on that CT side. I think that was the really big thing. T side necessarily might have, he calmed down a little bit in that sense. Didn't have the same kind of big plays. I think Shoking and TB got into the game pretty nicely towards the end there as well. But for me, even though he's probably not going to end up being it, Savage was my MVP because he got everything going for them. And I think that's pretty much crucial, especially when you're going up against a team that's more or less dominated you for the better course of 2 years. You want to get into a spot where you can actually feel good about what's going on the server instead of feel like you're being controlled by the others.
Yeah, I think it's telling that Lowy, TB, and Savage were all around the 90 to 100 mark in terms of ADR. So that pretty much, I think, sums it up pretty well. Those three were the cornerstones of VG picking that one up.
Yeah, and Lovey is our MVP.
Yep, not surprising.
Lovey Y. Love YY.
Yeah.
So we'll look at his stats in a second here. So we're going to move forward to VG's pick now, Nuke, which again, as we talked about,
This is good, yeah.
there's no Nuke written on my TyLoo notes.
Exactly.
There's no Nuke here.
There's from what I checked out, they played three times against Chinese teams. They've lost it twice.
Yeah, and
In October. That's happened in the last few weeks.
And that's super scary if you're TyLoo going into this. Honestly, the fact that you have, pretty much nothing to go off of going into this map. So in your plans, obviously, we're never supposed to lose Overpass, but now you're in a situation where you have to overperform on a map that you pretty much never play. And I guess this is kind of where you show if you're actually the better team.
Exactly.
If there is that much of a gap between the number 1 and the number 2 in China, then we're going to see it at this map.
No, I think that's the issue, right? Because pound for pound, I think VG has a lot of individual skill that can match a lot of TyLoo, right? So if you're significantly weaker on a map, then I think that's going to be a deciding factor, especially on Nuke. The one thing about Nuke is obviously though, as we've all been talking about it, there's a lot of inconsistency when it comes to results because it's still kind of a green map where you see a lot of just basically one team doing something differently on the CT side and then the T side struggles and they just don't have a lot of fall back to, right? Especially for TyLoo in this situation, since they haven't really played the map too much. I think that's going to be their massive issue.
Yeah, and looking at CyberZen's Nuke stats between online and offline, they played twice in the last 3 months offline. They're 2-0 on that, and they're 3-0 in online matches. Yeah. So they're undefeated in the last, other than maybe some China stuff like you said that might not have gotten to Half-Life TV's world. So obviously that's why they picked it. We'll see. You guys want to change your? We didn't really predict Nuke, but what are you thinking now that you've seen what VG did on map 1?
Yeah, I think this is actually looking very, very possible right now that VG might be picking up this up 2-0. I think all the indication is towards that.
Yeah, I think that they're never going to be in a better scenario than what they are right now.
This is prime position.
Yeah,
right
never
now.
going to be better for them. So you're going to obviously have to favor Vici going into Nuke. I'd be very surprised if TyLoo actually managed to pull it out, unless it is a case of Vici not being that great on Nuke after all, but obviously just getting by those previous 5 maps, for instance, by just being better individually and playing other teams that don't really know what they're doing.
Yep.
But given how it's been something that they have had in their map pool for an extended period of time, I don't think that's going to be the case. So I think they have a better idea of what's going on.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. That's going to do it for our segment. When we come out of the commercial break, it'll be Dan and James to bring you this second map, maybe the last map. Do or die time for TyLoo.
Live Don't care what they say, we're gonna make it our own way. 'Cause I know you've got me, and you know I've got you. Long nights, early flights, pushing hard till the morning.